Tjena hörni och välkommen till en ny video. Efter 2 veckor att jag var så uttråkad hela tiden och gjorde bara några spellistor är det nu äntligen gör reaction videos nu. Det här året. Jag har varit så jävla uttråkad hela tiden kan jag säga. Jag har inte gjort någon video knappt alls. Jag hade tänkt göra någon uppdatering video men det gjorde jag inte. Men det här är ingen uppdatering video. Det här är en reaction video som vanligt. Så ja, jag är tillbaks på det här igen och jag har börjat tillbaks min keps igen och jag bär den här istället ju. Ja, jag tänkte. Så idag tänker vi regera Jobbythehong igen och vi ska regera bara en av hans videos. Jag regerade typ 2 stycken. Jag regerade den från jag tror det var 2 år sedan. Jag har den reaction finns link i beskrivningen om ni vill gärna se den. Och sen gjorde jag en till som jag gjort för något speciellt någonting. Jag kommer inte ihåg så mycket. Men det här är en follow-up på den där som jag agerade för 2 år sedan. Jag tror det var 2 år sedan tror jag. Ja. Och det heter och det var SparkToys Spartacus Megatron Worthy EDM. Jag kan inte säga det här namnet, men den jag hörde baserat på någon från CT någonting, så det är nog säkert den version Megatron poppar fram där. Så jag har inte ens läst CT knappt alls och varför jag ska reagera någon snackad Transformers leksak igen? För att jag var nog en Transformers-vän innan jag blev en Sonic-fan. Jag vill inte bara säga det där egentligen, så japp. Men i alla fall, om ni gillar den här videon, om ni gillar att jag reagerar videos igen, så sätt en like på den här och snälla prenumerera för jag vill bli snart nära 100 prenumeranter för att snälla, jag vill ändå ha 100 prenumeranter på den här kanalen. I alla fall. Men i alla fall, nog med snack, vi sätter igång. Så. Okej.
Hey, but this Jobby and yet another third-party Megatron tank? Because the last time went so well. I mean, what last time? What even am I talking about?
Okay.
SparkToys
02.
Spartacus. And I guess because Megatron was supposed to be a gladiator back in the Cybertronian days, and Spartacus is a classic movie about that subject matter, I suppose.
Aldrig hört. Aldrig sett.
Catchy love theme.
Okej. Vänta. Okej, det lät exakt lik. Ja,
based on his appearance from the Transformers War Within comic books, which surprisingly is right there on the goddamn box.
Har inte det hänt ibland för parties som får problem? Alltså, de bara satte det där bara. Jag har ingen mer.
Companies are getting really ballsy nowadays. For those of you who don't know, third party just means it's a Transformer figure not legally sanctioned by Hasbro or Takara Tomy, but it's perfectly within the right because they don't call the figure what it is.
No, I am.
Now, this is the second figure that SparkToys has to offer. I reviewed the first one that they did, which I did review on this channel. Go check that video out.
Jag vet inte, jag satt
While that
jättelänge.
figure was perfectly fine and good, there's something that they did with this guy that is just that bit.
Jag måste säga, den är snygg design.
The painting this on this figure is amazing. While I'm actually not too big of a fan of the overly buff aesthetic of the War Within comics, the figure version with all its precise mechanical detail.
Det är inte så ofta jag har sett sån på Terrera, men seriöst, den ser jävla snygg ut, men jag slutar pausa en till.
Selling me on the whole big boy idea. Would this be the new Jobby meme that'll be dead within a few months? Subscribe to find out. Now, the incredible amount of detail is one thing, but the painted detail on this guy is super impressive. Yes, the figure does adhere to the monochromatic color scheme of Megatrons of yore, but check out that chest. Just those tiny bits of bright colors add so much. Also pretty cool how his chest area vaguely resembles the belly panel of the original Megatron. There's also really subtle shading at the metallic silver parts. It's kind of hard to pick it out on camera because it looks so much like natural shading. You see how the corner of some parts are kind of dark? Yeah, that's actually painted on. Goddamn Da Vinci's working on SparkToys. As beautiful as the painting and sculpting is, there is one aspect that kind of weird
Ja.
Yeah, and of course I'm talking about the seemingly man-made
Det var dumt i
decals
paus
that
där.
are all over the figure. Where's the decals? I was never quite sure about that. But no matter, all I'm saying is that why the heck would an alien robot have caution signs on his knees? But being a fan of Gundam
Ingen
that are
aning.
deckled to shit, I actually really like the look. Even though it doesn't make much logical sense.
Did
you say
Gundam?
Or Gundam, yeah, calm your fucking tits. And it should come as no surprise that the back of the figure
Verkar
is
som han är,
relatively plain. I
verkar
can't
som han är en
complain
stor
too
fan på
much
Gundam
because that
säkert.
just means that the kibble on the figure is well integrated. And for those of you who don't know, just look it up, please. And on the topic of well integrated kibble, this super obvious cannon.
Herregud!
Motor cannon. It's something that the cannon can fire, but we'll talk about that more later because it's not accessory time yet. Other gimmicks include these side skirts. There's these little switches here that you can pull up and not.
Det där påminner om typ Beast Wars Megatron, fast han har typ bara sideguns med hans ben, så det där är en liten referens där. En liten pytteliten referens när han la det där. Så kan man säga top notch.
He has a pair of hip missiles. They're also on this ridiculously thin strut that allows them to pop off extremely easy. That is not a feature. It's just fucking annoying. The more annoying is
Okay, so that way you...
because you gotta that tiny little aspect is actually pretty disappointing because the rest of the figure is so... It makes the fiddliness of these side skirts stand out. And here we go. That one won't even... maybe some form of die-cast construction would help the solidity of these things because die-cast metal makes everything better, right? Well, in the case of the figure's feet, these threads, and various other parts that my cold touch technique can't quite detect, yes, die-cast metal does make things better. Gives the figure a really nice weight. And now we're gonna move on to the face because it's that part of the review. Shut up. And back in his younger days, Megatron was quite the looker, wasn't he? He is kind of a pretty boy, which is a funny contrast with a big boy body, but it's still weird. And if you're not into the whole blue steel look, you can remove his face. Where did that go? You've also got to remove his eyes and put it right into this alternate face. And now he just looks mildly irritated. You also get a face that's more in line with the G1 Megatron. And honestly, this face looks out of place with his head sculpt. And you get a laughing G1 Megatron head. Pretty cool. In addition to more accessories, you get a missile, and you can put it in this cannon here. Make sure that arrow's pointing forward. And you can push this red button here, and it does shoot pretty hard and fast. So if you want to lose an eyeball, you know what to do. You also get a really cool sword. This thing can extend. That's right.
Alltså det är så ljust där inne så jag kan inte...
It looks really cool. But the gladiator mode isn't complete without this obviously piece of kibble shield. Kibble shield. Arm here, and that is a great look for this design. And the detail on the shield is not too shabby. But again, obviously it's part of the alternate mode, doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, it's another great use of kibble. And you get a pea shooter, which again plugs into a hole in his arm. Looks absolutely pathetic. But to make up for Megatron's insecurities, you do get a fusion cannon. And for any Megatron fan that didn't even notice he didn't have it, yeah, me neither. And for me, that's because the fusion cannon actually looks out of place for this design. But G1, when perish, we don't need this thing here. And for his final accessory, not really an accessory, more like a feature, you get pop of his chest, which reveals more internal detail. And
det där är så häftigt, måste jag säga.
Turns out to be one of the most coolest battery covers I've ever seen.
Okej, det här liksom måste jag garantera önska mig antingen julklapp eller jag fyller. Jag måste garantera skaffa den här figuren.
Our 44 batteries not included. But why would you ask as you...
För ögonen eller?
Well, there's this tiny little switch here that you can flip, and when you do...
Aha, jag hade fel.
It's awesome that SparkToys included it at all. Now before we move on
Snygg ut.
I want to point out how beautiful this thing feels. All of the paint on the figure has this really nice satin finish to it, which makes the majority of the figure feel silky smooth. Of course, this is a double-edged sword.
Alltså, seriöst, jag måste garantera skaffa den här figuren någon gång.
Ball drawing at the head allows him to look up that far and look down that far. Arm can rotate a full 360. Arm can move up bicep swivel that the tread interrupts. And at the elbow, swivel here. He's got one of those index finger, 3-finger separations. And a hinge joint at the middle of the index finger. Okay. Got a chest.
Okay.
Swivel at the waist. Side skirts are, of course, on ball joints. Frontier moves up. That allows for a kick. Can move back that far. Thigh swap, and at the knee, the lower leg can rotate, but that's more for the transformation. Slide up and down at the ankle, slight toe bend, and a not so slight ankle pivot. Chest crunch adds
Okej, det var lite dumt.
Dynamicism. And there's ratchet joints where there should be. You see, with a figure of this size and weight, ratchet joints are appropriate to keep the figure standing and stable, Kyoto. And speaking of facilities, yeah, that's still a thing. Give me back my ruler, you piece of shit. Here, Figma,
Okay.
SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Masterpiece, Megatron. I totally didn't forget to film Prime, the SparkToys Skiff, and the SparkToys Alpha Pack. And seeing these figures side by side, goddamn, someone at SparkToys liked Megatron more than Optimus Prime. What I'm saying is this.
Det verkar som Björn och gör det.
That is, so far, does the transformation add up to the SparkToys Alpha Pack? Who knows until we actually get into it and maybe skip it, most likely.
Jag tror jag kommer skippa det. Det var inte så långt. Var det där han rapade? Va? Rapade han? Jag tyckte jag hörde någon rapljud, men ja. Eller? Jag har ingen aning mer längre. Jag behöver inte skippa allt det här. Det ser basic ut i alla fall. Har inte Hasbro släppt en figur som är lik den här? Jag vet inte, jag är inte så jättestor Transformers-fan längre, men hej, men vad man gillar, som jag sa, tillägg som ni gillar Transformers. Än jag gör, men jag var ju en fan för länge sedan, men ja. Ja, det var någonting.
And here we have the tank mode. Okay. Make no mistake, all the excellent painting and sculpting carries over from the robot mode. It's just that the actual design of this vehicle mode is kind of confused. It looks more like a mining vehicle haphazardly outfitted for war, and I realize now that that's the point. Wow, I'm an idiot. You see, he was a miner that did the gladiator stuff on the side, so it would make sense that in the middle of the Decepticon uprising, he would outfit his mining vehicle mode to be a goddamn war machine. Either that or I just completely pulled that out of my ass and I'm getting my timelines mixed up, but who gives a shit about the Transformers comic? Anyway, I still think the vehicle mode looks okay. Not terrible.
Återigen, jag har inte läst serierna heller. Jag tror jag får skaffa dem på Tarera. Får jag bara göra.
And it's flat as a 14-year-old. Note to self, cut that out. The weapon storage on this mode is pretty good. I especially like that Texas tuck. I don't see a reason for the pea shooter when there's a fusion cannon right there. And you could always remove these guns for a cleaner looking vehicle mode. I think I prefer it this way actually. And even though it doesn't matter in the long run, much like our life, I feel I should point out that the bottom of this mode is terrible. Well, like I said, the bottom of a vehicle mode doesn't really matter because you're not going to display it like this, but it does come off as lazy engineering. I mean, if it really bothers you, you could just... Perfect now, 10 out of 10. Of course, the missile can still fire. Oh, the turret can move up and down. These can close. And a really neat feature, the treads are actually functional. I mean, it's pretty tight, so they would perfectly roll on any surface, and I am ruining my setup right now. I'm gonna stop. Now let's do some size comparisons. So
Han kunde det på golvet egentligen, men...
Godzilla, Megatron, SparkToys Skiff, and Alpha Pack. In terms of vehicle mode, I think Alpha Pack is better, just more cohesive and has no cable at all. But if we're talking about the overall, this figure's amazing. The amount of love and effort that SparkToys put into this figure is obvious, and I would highly recommend it if you're a Transformers fan, war within or not, or if you're just into big boys. That's the official death of that meme. Thanks for subscribing. And if you wanted this guy for yourself, check out the description that leads you to the Lunar Toy Store. It has been a while since I had that name in my mouth, and I have to apologize for
Den var pissdyr kan jag säga.
delay. They actually provided me this figure like, what, 5 months ago? Last year.
Som några skit.
Hey, if you're watching this, and
Det är så vana YouTubers.
I'm still perfectly willing to work with the Lunar Toy Store, but I do have a few conditions. Number one, don't make me pay for anything, and number two, stop shoving model kits and sexy statues down my throat. So leave a thumbs up if you liked the video. Leave thumbs down if you didn't like the video, but feel like you should exert your control.
Jag menar...
Don't worry, I've been there. And leave a comment if you're not a complete child. That one's not gonna happen.
Okej. Men det var allt för idag. Det är bara en video jag hade tänkt. Men jag hade tänkt göra typ Regerar till 2-3 videos som jag brukar göra ibland. Men jag gjorde det för mycket. Men jag tycker det är bra så här nu. Men om ni gillar den här videon, tryck tummen upp-knappen och tryck på prenumerant-knappen också. För att snälla, det är snart nära över 100 prenumeranter. Så vi ses i alla fall i nästa video. Ha en bra dag. Och jag är i alla fall glad jag har 48 prenumeranter. Tack.